Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick, aka The Limey, and I've just finished recording a video about the Above Tech kitchen tablet stand, and I'm sitting here just about to start editing in it, and I thought, you know what, one thing I've never done is sort of give an idiot's guide or a behind the scenes on how I actually edit my videos. And I thought, you know what, this could be interesting to some people, it may not be interesting to anyone, but as someone who isn't from that world, I'm not a film editor or a camera person or anything like that, it's one of the things I struggle with the most. I thought it might be something interesting for you guys to see how me, a complete novice, who literally does rely on the things he's learnt on YouTube, how to get through editing a full video. So I'll try and keep this one super short, super sweet, and we'll go from there. So the first thing that I actually like to do is I like to make sure that I'm organized. Now this is one thing that I don't have that much of in my life. I'm not a massive organized person. So I keep all of my folders straightforward and where I need to have them. So I've got a Premiere Pro folder, I've got a projects folder, and then within that projects folder, I create myself a project for the project that I'm working on. So in this instance, it's the Above Tech kitchen tablet stand. So it's called Above Tech. In here, I then have three things. So I've got the Above Tech folder, which I've actually misnamed Above Techs, but that's totally fine. I've got the save file for Premiere Pro, and then I keep my A-roll and my B-roll, and I kind of keep these separately. Now for me, B-roll isn't that slow and moody sort of shots. It really is not filmed on my main camera. So A-roll is all of the folder, all of the files that I've filmed, and that's using my normal Canon camera. Here we go. That's using that bad boy. Then the B-roll is anything else that I'm adding in. That could be being filmed from the GoPro, which is what it is in this instance, or it could be being filmed on a smartphone or something that I'm just trying to throw in there, okay? So in this instance, they're all GoPro footage. So the first thing I do is I drag both folders into Premiere Pro. So once I've got my A-roll and my B-roll imported into Premiere Pro, it really is quite a straightforward process. So then what I need to do is find the start of how I started my video this morning. So normally what I like to do is give myself something that I know is where I start. So I use a click, you could use a clap, something easy that I know that's where I'm about to start. I always try and give myself just a few seconds after the click before I go into it so I can get in there and get myself sorted. Once I'm in that part, I mark my in. Good morning, ladies. Inevitably, I just skim through to find out that I probably made a mistake, and I'm going to do this one again. Just think that's what happened this morning. Because nothing's ever where I need it. So we'll skim forwards. And I think there probably is a setting where you can do it and you can find the vocal track. So you can work on the following click. So by doing a clap or a click, it should give you a spike in the vocal. So I'll remark my in.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nick, aka The Limey, and on this one we're doing things a little bit different.
Okay, so I've got my in point. So what I generally do is I scrub through all of the footage to get to the point where it ends. I do my best to try and take everything in one take, even if it's not 100% perfect. There's a few stumbles, things like this. I'd rather do that than keep going back and cutting and having, 4 or 5 hours worth of footage just to do an intro. At the end of my intros or wherever it is I want the break, I'll normally try my best to leave a pause.
Dead easy. So why did I buy a tablet stand to hold a camera?
So there's the pause. And I'll mark my out. So shortcuts on the keyboard, I'm a PC user, so that's I for in, O for out. And then I'll just drag the footage into the timeline. Now, I'm going to skip forward. I'm basically going to do the same thing to finish the rest of the video. So time-wise, it's 10:45. Let's see how long it takes me to edit a video. Okay, so it's now 11:33, and I started the A-roll edit at 10:45. Now, as soon as I literally said, it's 10:45, let's see how long this takes, turned you guys off, my wife came home. So I flew downstairs, had a cup of coffee, and a quick chat with her. So about 15 minutes spent with her. So I've been at this for about 30 minutes so far. I've managed to get all of the A-roll in, and we have ourselves about a 13-minute video. So the next step is sticking in the B-roll. So what I do like to do at this point is just quickly flick through and just sort of see where I need to put my B-roll. So normally what I'll do is I'll watch the video through. It's 30 minutes. I'll watch it through and I'll add markers wherever I need to stick B-roll, or as I'm going, I'll just stop the process, add the B-roll as and when I need to. So the first part of the B-roll that I need to find is this section right here. So this is where I'm talking about how my current setup is. So what I'm going to do is quickly skim through my GoPro footage and try and find the GoPro footage that matches that. And I think it is probably this. So what I can do with the GoPro is I can actually plug my microphone system straight into it. But what I generally try and do is I let this record just my native voice, not through the microphone, and I always make sure I capture all of my audio through the bigger camera. And then this way, I've got all my audio recorded through this, and then I can match up what I'm saying on the GoPro with what was recorded in the bit that I want you to see. So let's try and do this bit. So I'll mark my in. What I'm actually going to do for this one is just grab the whole clip. It's going to go about there. Now, one thing that I've learned to do is zoom in, because everything is better. And then you can see straight away that the voice is different here, here, and here. So I'm going to try and match it up as best I can. Right, so I've got the word here is perched forwards, I think, as I'm looking for.
On the windowsill.
Alright, so I'm way out here. Scroll back 40 seconds. Right, so it's about here. I turn the GoPro on. So let's grab my GoPro footage and stick that over here. I'll just out with my original guesstimate. Again, we'll zoom in so we've got it. Ooh, so we're almost there. We've got a bit of an echo. Straight forward. So using the audio waves, I'm going to try and line this up a little bit better.
Straightforward. The camera is on the windowsill, it's popped up and it's perched there, and it sits on top of this switch pod.
Okay, so I've got that all lined up. I'll make that smaller. Now, one thing, I'm not sure if this happens to everyone's GoPros, but for some weird reason, mine always is too big. So I need to make it 50% size. So the decision now needs to be made on where this is going to go. And this becomes a bit of the artistic versus the necessity, right? So personally for me, I like to make sure that I'm always in shot. I just want to add in a bit of motion as well. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go the other way around on this one. 100. And then as we scooch through to here, I'm going to make it pop. 38.8%, which is what it was. Now, hopefully, what we get as we watch this,
quite straightforward. The camera is on the windowsill, it's popped up and it's perched there, and it sits on top of a switch pod. The problem with that switch pod is that it only just fits.
so that's the first bit of B-roll that we've thrown in there. So I'm just going to go through, I'm going to literally do exactly the same thing for all the next little bits of B-roll that we need, if anything, and then we'll come back. So now we have all of our A-roll and our B-roll. And like I said, by leaving the voice on your B-roll when I'm pairing up, it just means I can literally try and match where the shapes are on the A and the B, or the main camera and the GoPro, and I can really just try and line it up, and then all I do is unlink them, and then I get rid of the vocal track off of the secondary camera that I don't need, because I'm going to use the same audio anyway, because it's stronger, because it's being picked up by a lapel mic. So the next thing that I would do is I'd go through and I'd add in some music. Now, with all of my YouTube videos, I generally like to have music playing through the whole video. I have it playing in the background nice and quietly, and then if there's any point where there's no talking, I'll ramp it up to full voice. I don't do, like I said, any of the B-roll where I need actual dedicated music or anything like that. So I just generally try and pick a theme and roll with it throughout the whole video. So for the music, this isn't sponsored, but for this guy, I actually pay for Epidemic Sound. I've got a license with Epidemic Sound, which means I can play any of the music off of Epidemic Sound, and I can use that on my YouTube videos, which really does help. So what I try and do, I try and just make sure that I use anything the same. So I actually quite like that track, so we're going to download that track. Because we liked the Llama Drama song by Joby, we can literally click on the find other things that are similar. And this will give us some different things as well. So I've downloaded a bunch of different tracks that I'm going to sort of just drop in as background music again. So there's a few things that I just focus on. The first track that I liked was Llama Drama. I think it was about 84 beats a minute. So I just try and keep the beats per minute around the same. So, you know, between 75 and 90 beats per minute. Obviously, if you then go into a bit of flamenco in the middle of it, it's going to kind of just throw off the track. So I just try and keep it all a general, gentle sort of bimbling bit of music, just sort of filling in a bit of dead noise in the background. Otherwise, you just hear me speaking, and behind me there will be music. So the next step is I make a super quick bin just here in my media browser. I just make sure that I've got it called music, so exactly what it is. Then I've got all the tunes that I wanted to have in here. Now I'm going to start with Llama Drama. So literally I just drop all these in. And what I generally do is I try and use track 2 and 3 for music, and I mix and match them. So you get a nice happy vibe, and then we'll just check the next one. And then the next thing I do when I'm doing my music is I just like to make sure that we don't really get any dead sound. Again, this is background music, so you don't really actually hear it, but what you want is you don't need really dull lulls and then rises into the start of a new track. So right now we have so all I do is I just scooch them over and hope we get a good cross. So something just like that. Now, obviously, we can't have it all at full volume. Otherwise you won't hear me. So all I do is hop over to my audio mixer. Just make sure I'm on the audio track mixer and not on the clip itself. And then audio lines 2 and 3, I just drop these down to about -25. And then just see how that sounds.
Easier for me, quicker for me to be able to set up. And I was randomly watching a TikTok video.
So there we have just some nice, gentle, casual, bimbling music in the background, not really disturbing me while I'm talking. So I'm just going to throw in the rest of the tracks, and like I said, I'm going to do an A2, A3, A2, A3, A2, A3, all the way along. And then there's one little bit where we'll just chop the music because there's no talking, and we'll throw that into the vocal track, or we'll move it down to track 4 at full volume. Okay, let me show you how that works. So I've just thrown in all of the background music tracks, and one thing I did notice just as I was checking how they overlapped was that in this frame I've got a GoPro in my hand, but there's no B-roll being attached. So I'm actually giving you guys the demo of where everything is and showing you how it all works, but there's no B-roll. So I'm going to grab the last bit of B-roll, because this is it where it is. I know because I talk about Dopey over here, the teddy bear. Now, one of the things I find quite frustrating is if I try and drag this in, it wants to overlap it and put it over the music track that is already there. So one thing I always do in this situation is I just lock down the bits I don't want to have it over, drag it into place, and then again we just do the edit where we fix the sizing. Like I said, for some bizarre reason it needs to go to 50% to make it fit in screen. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll zoom in and we'll match the audio patterns to try and get us in a situation where it matches straight away. So we've got our full timeline now. So what I've got is I've got my main movie, the cuts for the B-roll. Over here, just a little bit hairy. I can always move that down and tidy it up. And then all the green is my music tracks and my audio. And as you can see, this little one popped in here. That's because just there, if I unmute everything, we go to no vocals.
Monitor and make sure it doesn't actually hit anything.
So because there's no vocals playing, there's nothing me talking, there's no point having quiet music in the background that you can't really hear. I may as well pick it up and really punch that music so you can actually enjoy this little scene of me clipping in a GoPro onto a wall mount. So once I've got all my A-roll, my B-roll, and all the music track laid down, the next thing I do is I go through and I work on any transitions that I want. So I've got a pre-made transition pack that I'll just chuck in here. So we've imported the transition pack, and the other thing that I do at this point is I have my intro and outro assets. I've got them for the Limey Gaming and the things I've learnt. And all we do here is drop in so all we do here is we're going to drop in the pre-made not a Twitch one, my Twitch is Limey Gaming. Okay, cool. And these really are just the basic, well, not basic. So the intro and outro graphics that I use, these are all pre-made. And they advertise things like my TikTok, my Instagram, the YouTube channel, things like that. So what we'll do in a minute is we'll go through and we'll decorate with a little bit of them. But first, what I always do is do the transitions. So again, pre-made transition pack. I picked this one up when I first started doing YouTube videos because like I said, I'm not a great Premiere Pro After Effects user. So all I do at this point is I just hop into any of the transitions where there's a cut. So no transition needed there. So obviously not going to be transition needed there because we're just coming out. I'm assuming it's the same.
With that switch pod is
So it's just a reverse. No point doing a transition there. Let's see here.
to hold the camera. Plan on
Right. So we just got a hard jump there. So what we can do is we can find one of these. Fantastic. Let's do a stretch. Let's do a fast stretch. And we'll do up, down, no, left, right. So the thing I pick up is to my left. So I'm going to do a left pan. And then, hang on 2 seconds. So again, what I like to do here is just lock any of the tracks. Have we used track 4? Yes. No, we haven't used track 4. I like to lock any of the tracks to make sure nothing gets overwritten. So I'm going to drop that right there. It'll automatically create its own track line.
on taking a
And then I don't actually like the whooshes on these. I like them to be a little bit more subtle, so I just get rid of the sound effect. Okay. And then again, we'll just do the same thing. We'll go through the whole video. We'll just look for any of the blunt cuts. So another one there. And this really is as fruity as you are feeling. So that was a bit of a woo. So let's do a lens blur. A lens dispersion. Do something fast. And we'll just do a distort. Nice and simple. Oh. And all I do is I make sure that the middle line is dragged and dropped right in line with where the cut's going to be. We'll get rid of that. And then we can see how that looks.
So while I was picking up
Okay. So it just hides the fact that it's just a hard cut where it wasn't very smooth in the original edit. So I've gone through the whole video and I've added in the transitions, the pre-made transitions, wherever I think they're needed. So my advice on these is not to go too crazy with them and not to keep doing the same one, otherwise it looks really quite boring. Obviously you can do all this in camera, so you know you can cut to the left and start from the left, you can cut to the right, start from the right, you can go down and come back up. You can do all that while you're filming. For me, I've got a camera that's pretty static, so that's why I don't do those. Plus, I'm not that talented, and I'd never remember which way I was going, so I'd cut to the left, but I'd stop on the right, like I'd spun around in a big circle. So, I find just for me, dead easy, just a purchased transition pack. I've been using this for the best part of 2 years now, so it's definitely got its money's worth. I've just gone through, added all them in, and the last thing that we need to do is just add in all the pre-made assets. So these are the like and subscribe comments that you see throughout the video. And again, these are all pre-made, all customized just for me. Again, these things aren't expensive. There's people out there that do this for fun. They just make loads of them, change one small thing like the logo or the banner or whatever it is, and job done. Okay, but make sure you follow me on TikTok, make sure you follow me on Instagram, make sure you follow me on YouTube, more importantly. So I'll go through and I'll add all that in. Now you can see here we've got up to 8. So we've got 8 video tracks in there now. So again, I'm just going to quickly go through and lock all these. And the majority of those 8 tracks you can see sort of roughly here.
camera that's going to sit right in front of me here, so I can talk straight on, opposed to ever so slightly crooked, looking over the top of a computer monitor at my camera that's perilously perched on a windowsill.
So most of those tracks will be the transition. Okay, just like that. So the main thing for me about these assets is really making sure they're in a good spot. So having this asset playing while I'm doing this doesn't really make sense. So I've already got my small me, I've got my big background image, and adding something over the top of it just adds noise. So what we do is we'll pop it here, slide it along ever so slightly. So with that one, I like to drop it just on my door.
And it only just fits. It only just fits on the...
That is pretty much everything I need to do for the YouTube videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this, I'm going to export it. Now exporting this to YouTube, I export it out as 4K, I film it as 4K, and honestly, even if you don't film as 4K, you should probably do your best to export it as 4K. YouTube gives more preferential treatment to things that are being broadcast in 4K. So there's the quick version here. So just update the file location, because this obviously was my scuff video, was the last one that I did. There's above tech, and I always call my videos final, so I know it's final. And then on the drop down, I just do the high quality 4K, hit export. So while that's doing that, once it's done, takes about 15 minutes or so. Once that's finished, what I'll do is I'll sit and I'll watch the whole video in its entirety, the full 13 minutes, as the exported file. If there's anything that I don't like in there, now the reason I do it that way is because, like I say, all the stutters, all the things, everything that you've got, you know that this is your final product that you're going to be sticking on YouTube. So I like to make sure that all my transitions work and everything else just works exactly how it should do. So I'll export it and then I'll watch the proper file that I'll then upload into YouTube. I watch it in one go, one sitting, just plow straight through it, see what happens. So I just closed Premiere Pro purely because it just uses so much memory and really hampers the performance of my laptop. So we've got the final version here, and as you can see, it's 2 PM. I've had some lunch, had some coffee with my wife. It's taken me about 4 hours to do this.
And on this one, we're doing things a little bit different. I'm going to be doing
So I'm going to sit, I'm going to watch the rest of this video, and I'll pick you up at the end. So I've just sat and I've just watched the full 13-minute and 1 second video that we created together, and it all seems more than okay. So nothing really that I'm going to go back and fix and waste my time and go back for a slight, you know, where I've cut a word short or something like that. You know what? We're all human. We're people. I'm not putting out broadcast quality content. I am doing something that I really enjoy, that I hope you guys really enjoy. So next step for me really on this one is just to upload it into YouTube. I'm not going to show you guys how that all works. It's all quite straightforward. But thank you so much. And I really hope that, you're not too critical in the comments. Like I said, I am a Premiere Pro absolute noob and beginner. And honestly, moving things, making the screens change size and move and things like that, relatively new to me, and I'm just trying my best to give my videos a bit of variety and something that makes it so you guys actually want to stay tuned and watch more than 1 minute of a 13-minute video. So be kind in the comments, but any tips, anything that you guys want to share, please feel free. I know the Premiere Pro and the movie and film editing sort of community is absolutely huge and definitely very vocal, and if anyone ever wants to edit videos for me for free, you know how to get hold of me. Okay, guys, my name is Nick, aka The Limey. This one's been a little bit different. I really hope that you've learned something, you've enjoyed it, and if you've never ever tried something like Premiere Pro, just go out, find yourself a version that you like. Personally, I quite like Premiere Pro. I don't mind paying for it. It's one of those things, but just find the one you like, find the one you can practice with and you can play with. Get out there, have some fun, and just really see what it's all about. But guys, thanks for watching. Check in the next one.